Om Shri Babaji Ya Namaha. Om Shri Lahiri Mahasaya Ji Ya Namaha. Om Shri Yukteswar Ji Ya Namaha. Om Shri Paramahansa Yogananda Ji Ya Namaha. Om Shri Shali Ji Ya Namaha. Om Shri Goswami Kriyananda Ji Ya Namaha. O Great Spirit, saints and sages of all times, of all places, O ye pathmakers of old, most beloved and precious gurus of the holy Kriya lineage, most beloved and precious Ishta Devata, Lord of life, Lord of light, Lord of goodness, in all of thy names and all of thy forms, the past, the present, the future. Namaste. O ye beings of the air, the earth, the fire, the water, the ether. Namaste. Om Shri Surya Vanamaha. Om Shri Chandra Jiva Namaha. Om Shri Mangala Jiva Namaha. Om Shri Buddhi Jiva Namaha. Om Shri Brihaspati Jiva Namaha. Om Shri Shukra Jiva Namaha. Om Shri Sani Jiva Namaha. Om Shri Rahu Jiva Namaha. Om Shri Ketu Jiva Namaha. Most beloved ancestors of our bloodlines, of our spiritual lines, of our adopted lines, our marriage lines, our friendship lines, all of ye who have had influences upon our lives. Namaste. Focus your attention at the sun center, the point between your eyes. Sit with your spine erect. Keep the hands on the thighs in the Om Mudra with the index finger and the thumb together, please. Take 3 long, deep inhalations and exhalations, slowly inhaling through the nostrils and exhaling through the nostrils. And letting go of all the tension in the body. Turn your head to the left and exhale twice. And bring the head back to the center. Now begin to watch the breath. With the next inhalation, pull the energy from the limbs of the body to the trunk of the body. Use the sipping breath. And now again, using the sipping breath, pull the energy from the trunk of the body to the spinal column. And now from the base of the spine, pull the energy up to the sun center. Move the energy out as a golden ball of light in front of you, sweeping around to the left, behind you, to the right, and in front of you. Do this 2 more times. Expand that golden light until you are comfortable. Holding your attention at the sun center, the Ajra Chakra, the point between your eyes. Move outward at a 45-degree angle, moving your energy above the room you're in, above the building, above the city, above the continent, ascending above the earth plane as high as you are able. When you reach the point that you can ascend no more, stop for a moment. And now ascend just a small amount more until you reach your high place. And turn around from that high place and sit in meditation. Around you in the high place, this highest place, you see high mountains, the highest in the realm, the highest in the high place. Om Purna Madaha Purnamidam Purnat Purna Mudakshate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudakshate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudakshate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. This is full. That is full. Take fullness from fullness, and fullness remains. See yourself surrounded by the mountains. And through the mountains, you see streams flowing down from the mountaintops. More streams than you can count. Around you are the mountains, streams flowing down, coming together to a river in the valley. As I say these words, repeat them silently to yourself. It's a prayer. Prayer from the Upanishads. May the stream of my life flow into the river of goodness. May the thread of my song be not cut while I still sing. May my work not end before its fulfillment. See the stream of your life joining the stream of all of the other lives, flowing into the river of goodness. Hold that meditative state in your mind's eye. Namaste. Welcome to my heart. Welcome to our meditation this morning. Your life is a stream. Your life flows into the river of goodness. You feed the goodness. You are part of the goodness that is life. You are a part of this, not apart from it. And so you sit in the high place, and from the high place, you see all the other beings, not just the humans, all the other beings, the stream of their lives, your life along with all others, flowing into the river of goodness, which flows into the ocean of immortality, of which thou art a part. But you need to see that. You need to know that. You need to know that you are goodness. Your life is goodness. You are good. You are a part of the good that is life. I'm not saying we don't have rough days. I'm not saying we don't have rough weeks. I'm not saying that some souls don't have rough lifetimes. We do. You are still part of this. Now, the path of mysticism, the path of Kriya Yoga, it's about having a primary experience. You for you. Me for me. Your primary experience. It's about you understanding for yourself the nature of this existence which we are living upon the earth plane. Your existence is not limited to the earth plane. But the path of Kriya Yoga is the path that will help you and continue to help me to soften the karma of the earth plane. For I will say again and again and again and again, the primary, the fundamental principle of Kriya Yoga is based upon the law of karma. You and you alone create your life, and you alone have the capacity to change your life. Now, it's an uncomfortable thought. I know that. I know that we have life experiences and we say, well, I don't know how I created this. What did I do to create that? Well, no. Don't, as Pranananda would say, don't noodle it to death. Don't, don't just keep striving and trying to get it there. That's not the thing to do. Say, well, now, what can I learn from this? And how do I make it better? What do I change? The first thing is to change your thinking. Your thinking. Then your speech. And then your action. Some people would say that you change your action first, and then your speech, and then your thought. But you must have the thought first. Mystically, the thought precedes what we say and what we do. Even if you never speak it out loud, you must speak something in order for an action to come into fruition on the earth plane. You must express it in some fashion. It doesn't just arbitrarily come up, even though it may appear that it does. There are, the earth plane is very orderly, very, very orderly. And the path of Kriya Yoga will help you to find the order and to see the order in your universe and what you can do to make that better, to make this life more harmonious, more comfortable. Now, there's a beautiful, beautiful text called the Dow Jing, written by Lao Tzu, and it's well worth your exploring over time. But in this text, in book 2 of the text, Shloka 159, Lao Tzu says, the reason why the river and the sea are able to be king of the 100 valleys is that they excel in taking the lower position. Hence, they are able to be king of the 100 valleys. Therefore, desiring to rule, one must, in one's words, humble oneself. Desiring to lead, one must, in one's person, follow behind them. Therefore, the sage, which we are all seeking to be, the wise one, takes his place over the people, yet is no burden. Takes his place ahead of the people, yet causes no obstruction. That is why the empire supports him joyfully and never tires of doing so. It is because he does not contend that no one in the empire is in a position to contend with him. Yeah, I can hear you say, what does this have to do with me? I'm not king. I don't have value. I'm not the king. Ah, yes, you are. You are the ruler of your universe. You are the ruler of your universe, the universe in which you live. And so the teaching here teaches us, it says very, very clearly, just like the sea and the river have to run through the lower part of the valley. They run down, they run through the whole valley. You think of any mountains you've ever been in, certainly in the Himalayas, but here in America, and you see it in Norway, any place that there are mountains, the water runs through the lower position. It runs through the valley. And yet that is what feeds the valley. That was what nourishes all the life forms, is the water that runs through in the lower position. When we say desiring to rule over the people, he's talking about desiring to rule over what Yogananda Ji called your children, your chakras, the Saturn chakra, the foundation of your life, the Jupiter chakra, your philosophy, the Mars chakra, where we are all born. All humans are born at the Mars chakra, chakric level. That's the level we're living in today here upon the earth. You have an umbilical cord, you're born at the Mars chakra. The Venus chakra at the heart level. So the Saturn is the foundation, the Jupiter is philosophy, the Mars is your energy, the Venus is the love and the beauty, the Mercury is your ability to communicate, the sun and the moon come together, and they are the balanced self-awareness. Not like that, but they come together. You know, you hear people say, well, there's the moon here and the sun here. They are mystically one. The goal is to bring them back into the oneness which they had. So what must one do to bring these chakras into balance? What throws the chakras out of balance? What throws the chakras out of balance is your desires. You're wanting something or some things. The mind becomes angry because someone else wants something different than you do. They have a preference that's different than yours. Many years ago, I guess it's, 42, 45 years ago now, I quit eating a food stuff that my family had eaten for years. I started studying with my guru, and I realized the vibrational energy around foods, and I stopped eating one particular food. Well, it was a food that my mother served at the holidays. It was a food that my grandmother had served, both my grandmothers had served, and my mother-in-law served it. So, I had said, well, I please don't make anything special for me. I plenty to eat here, but I'm not gonna have this. So if you want to reduce the size, it's fine. Okay, that's one part of the year. A few months later, we go back, go back to Minnesota. And my mother-in-law, who had never, in all the years that I've been married, never done this before, she serves a meal centered around this food that I was no longer eating, and still to this day do not eat. And Mark said, "Boy, Mom, that really looks good, but Francie isn't going to eat that. She'll just so you remember." And my mother-in-law looked at me and said, "Are you still doing that? Are you still doing that?" Now, I said, "Oh, don't worry about it." I said, "It's just some phase I'm going through. Don't worry about it, Mom. It's fine. Don't worry about it." Now, I could have been really offended by it and made a big, "I can't sit at the table if you're having that." And I had a flash of insight, just this flash, that somehow by my saying, "I don't eat that food anymore," I was rejecting something that she felt I was rejecting a part of her. Her mom had made that. My mother-in-law made it. My mom had made it. My father's mother, my mother's mother made it. By choosing not to partake of that, they felt as if I was rejecting them. Yeah, that's an insight to have. To me, it was a big insight, because I found that many members of my family over the years would cook this food. It's a food my husband liked. I say liked. And so in the early years, I would say, well, how about if I cook that for you? And, bless him, he always said, no, no, no. I can get it, go out and eat. I can go to my mom's. Your mom will fix it, but no, you're not going to cook it for me. But thank you for offering. It was really one of the most understanding and kind things that I experienced, because he didn't feel that I was rejecting him. Now, when people become angry about something you do, it's because they feel that you're rejecting them. When you become angry about something that people do, it's because they're doing something that you don't like. Along the spiritual path, we have to grow and mature, and that growing and maturing must be able to be saying, let me just take a back seat. Let me find a way to make them feel accepted, to make them feel seen, to make them feel comfortable. Doesn't mean I have to eat the food I don't want to eat, or that I've chosen not to eat. But it means that I need to really, you and I, we need to change our thinking. Now, the food, I use that as an example because it's so present all the time. Do you like this? Do you like that? It's all these preferences that we have. But we must set aside, in interacting with the world and interacting with others, you need to set aside your preferences. You're driving down the expressway and somebody wants to go faster than you want to go, just pull over to the side of the road. Pull over to the lower, slower lane. I live in a town, in a village where people often, there's a strip that people will drive down, and they often will come by 10 or 20 miles over the speed limit. And a few years back, I got a ticket because I was going 6 miles over the new speed limit. I got a warning that was on my record for a year, so I didn't speed the whole year. And I learned a lesson, and that was that if I was trying to do what I needed to do, it meant sometimes I had to let everybody go by. It wasn't going to kill me, Most of the time, they were stuck at the stoplight that I was pulling up right behind them after I had let them go by. But when you're driving, or you're out in public, or you're at the grocery store, or wherever you're interacting with others, there is a tendency that there's a pushiness that comes. There's a tendency that you have to get first. You have to be first. You have to be. The mind is like that. Well, I was here first. I should go. No. Step back. And I'm not suggesting that you let yourself be walked over, but step back. Learn to humble yourself. You go into work and, you aren't feeling very good and the boss isn't speaking the way you want him to. Okay. What can you do? What can you change? How can you modify your thinking and your behavior to make it more harmonious? If it's the end of the fiscal quarter and the boss is trying to deal with finances and you want to ask for a raise, may not be the best time. May not be the best time. You know, you need to, timing is everything. Wisdom in all of your actions is what is so important. You've heard the story. Once upon a yogi time, there was a guru, and he was walking along. It was in India. It was hot. And he sees on the rock, big rock, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful naga, a snake. And his head comes up. And it says, Namaste, Namaste, Guru, Namaste. And it bows, Namaste. Namaste, Sri Naga. And Naga is a big, important symbol, remember. It's the spinal, the Kriya currents. Namaste, Namaste, Sri Naga. What a fine day this is. Yes, Guruji, do you have a moment, please? Sure, for you, I do. The Guru sits a respectful distance away from the Naga, very wise, not too close. The Naga says, my name is Ananta. Ananta. Ah, it's nice to meet you. And I have been living on this rock for a very long time, outside the edge of this village and scaring all the children. But I would like to change my life. And I would like to become your disciple. The Guru didn't laugh. He said, oh, okay. Well, I've never had a Naga as a disciple before. Not in this form. But okay. But first you have to pass a test. Yes, Guruji, anything you say. Well, I'm going to go on my way and I'll be back in a few months. And I would like you to become non-violent during that time. You have to practice ahimsa while I'm gone. I can do that. I can do that. Bows goes off. A few months go by, and the Guru comes back and there's no Naga. Ananta, 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 where are you? Where are you? Ananta, where are you? Nothing. Ananta, Ananta, nothing. No Ananta. So pretty soon the Guru starts looking around behind this rocks and all of a sudden crawling out is little Ananta, bruised eyes and bruised body. And Guru says, Ananta, what in heaven's name happened to you? Well, you told me to be nonviolent. And so the children, all the years that I've been scaring them, they became angry. And so they started throwing rocks at me and I couldn't do anything about it. And then they started hitting me with sticks and then they started kicking me. So I've spent the last month hiding under this rock. Drew says, oh, Ananta, come here, come here. I said to become nonviolent. I didn't say to let them think that you were not a snake. I didn't say let them think that you could not defend yourself. I didn't say to let them hit you with sticks and rocks. I didn't let them say to bruise your body. I said be nonviolent. How could he have done that? Yeah, this is what I'm saying, is that we must step behind. As my guru said to me often, you know, third place is good. Third place is always good. First place, whoever's in first place, they always get shoved out of the way. First place comes and goes and comes and goes and comes and goes. Second place steps into first place, and it's the cycle again and again. Stay in third place. You'll be there for the long, 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 long run. And so you need to apply this to your own life. And it really is a matter of changing our behavior, our thinking, to say that we can be up in these mountains and we can see. You can see in the mountaintops. You can see the rivers flowing into the valley. You can see that your life is goodness. And you can see how you can change your attitude, how you can speak with greater compassion, how you can speak more softly and more wisely, and time your speaking. Now, I will say to you that timing of your speech is vital. And it's a continual practice, because you may find easily, your timing is perfect. And then one day your timing is off. You stick your foot in your mouth. What you say isn't a problem, but the time in which you say it is a problem. And so this requires becoming more observant. In everything you do, become more observant. Find joy and happiness in every single day of your life. And you can find joy and happiness by thinking, how can I be a part of this? What do I have to give that is going to make this life better? Stop complaining. Stop needless complaining. Stop it. Just don't do it. When you are needlessly complaining, you are just spraying your emotionality all over the other person, all over the other persons. And they have to defend themselves from you. Yeah, stop it. If you feel a complaint rising up in your mind, zip it. Or as my guru used to tell me, duct tape it, Swamiji, duct tape it. Yeah, that duct tape is a very powerful symbol. You think duct tape and you keep it shut. Keep it shut. I had a primary experience earlier this week of someone who really came to me and just was expressing very, very strongly their momentary displeasure with another person. I had to say back, please, 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 let it go, let it go, let it go. Now here's what happened. The person said, I'm sorry, this is funny. Oh, it's fine now. I've complained to you. I'm over it. I'm over it. I complained to you, so I'm over it. Wow. Okay. Remember, free me from my negative thoughts, that I do not pass them on to others. Free them, free me. Free them from their negative thoughts, that they do not pass them on to me. Free me, free them. Free me from my negative thoughts, that I do not pass them on to others. Free me, free them. Free them from their negative thoughts, that they do not pass them on to me. Free them, free me. It's a truly, truly, truly powerful affirmation, powerful prayer, powerful remembering to free yourself from your negative thoughts. And to realize that if you're going to criticize, if you're going to complain because of a momentary dissatisfaction, do you know how many times a day your mind is dissatisfied with the nature of life? It needs to be corrected. It needs to be reversed. It needs to be turned over so that you can be happy that many times a day, that you could be joyful that many times a day. That's what we need to do. Be happy, be joyful as many times a day as you choose to be dissatisfied. A thought rises in your mind that is critical, that is negative. Neti, neti, neti. Let go of that thought. I'm not this thought. I'm not the thought thinking this thought. I am not thought. Let go of it. Change it. And don't spread it. Don't spread it into the universe. Do not think that because you express your dissatisfaction to someone else and it makes you feel better, that it's of help. What do you think you're doing to them? What do you think you're doing to them? And so what I'm saying, what the mystical texts teach us, what the mystical teachings teach us, what the mystical practices teach us, thy life is good. Your life is good. You are good. Know that and act accordingly. There must be every day parka in your life, practice of reflection, of looking internally, of saying, that wasn't so good. How do I fix that? Somebody said to me earlier this week, all these years I kept saying, I'm such a good person. I'm so kind. I'm so good. And now all of a sudden I see all these thoughts that are rising in my mind and they're not so good. And I laughed out loud. I said, well, join the club. Join the club. You and me and Kriyananda Ji too. It's maturity. It's expansion of your self-awareness to say, oh yeah, well, I missed the boat there. That's not criticism, that's awareness. Oh, I missed the boat there. Don't beat yourself with the wet spaghetti noodle or the dry spaghetti noodle or whatever you beat yourself with. No. Missed the boat. I wonder what I could do differently. What is it that pushed my button emotionally, the emotional red button that caused me to miss the boat? Was it a smell? Was it a sound? Was it a word? Was it a person? Was it a situation? Was it the time? Was it the location? Is your body tired? And then do everything you can to not let that repeat itself. And if it does, get up and try again and again and again and again and again. And in time, you will succeed. Stop striving so much. Stop grabbing so much. Stop pushing so much. Everybody has what they have. Everybody is where they are because they've worked to be there. Everyone, the world is as it should be, otherwise it would be different. You can change your life yourself. And, if there's one thing that is very helpful, there are many things helpful on the spiritual path, but one that's particularly helpful is recognizing for yourself those repeated thoughts that you've held on to, those thoughts that have become kind of like a song in the background of your life that you repeat without even really thinking about anymore, that you repeat them over and over and over again, and you're not really paying attention to whether they're accurate or they apply. You just say them over and over. And as you examine your life every day, again, not critically, but just as a scientist, oh, yes, I want to see, I want to see. And your subconscious mind, as soon as you begin to say, I want to see, and you accept it without judgment, without criticism, boy, great things will reveal themselves to you. Great, great things, great insights. But there are for all of us, rather, these thoughts that are repeated themes. It's like the this is a funny example. I don't know why this came to mind, but it did. So forgive me. I'll share it with you. A few years back, I had a pair of shoes that I really liked. Really, really liked the shoes, and it got to be springtime, and it was rainy weather, and I was wearing the shoes out, warm out, and my right foot got wet. And God, what's wrong? Why did my right foot get wet? Wear the shoe out again. This goes on for weeks. Every time I go hiking, or every time I get to the, wet, they go through near water, my right foot got wet. So one day I'm out walking, never looked at the shoes, not once, but I complained again and again. Why is my right foot getting wet? My husband, well, maybe you shouldn't step in water, So one day we're out walking and I step on a stick, and the stick pokes my bottom of my foot. Sit down on a bench nearby, and I said, oh my gosh, there's a hole in the bottom of my shoe. Now, I don't mean a little hole. I don't mean partial. There was a hole in the bottom of my shoe. I have been walking around loving these shoes for all this time with a hole in the bottom of them, complaining again and again and again and again. Why are my feet getting wet? Until I got poked and happened to look at the bottom of the shoe and say, oh, I see. No wonder it's getting wet. No wonder. Now, our thoughts are like that again and again and again. Had the first time my feet had gotten wet, why didn't I turn that shoe over? I just kept complaining. I just kept complaining, as if the feet getting wet was some great mystery that I could not solve. As if the feet getting wet was some mysterious, arbitrary, and capricious thing. And we do that with our thinking. Oh, the negative thought about the person or the situation over and 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 over. It stirs the pot of unhappiness. So turn over the shoe and see what the problem is. It's a great mystical story. The shoe is the Neptune. Don't be deceived. Turn it over and see what the problem is. And correct it. Now here's the biggie. I'm going to end with this. This is really the biggie. Listen carefully. When you see what the problem is, no name calling. No name calling. You can't say, oh, you blankety blankety blank. You can't look in the mirror of your mind and say, oh, what a blank, 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 blank. No, that's not the way to solve the problem. No name calling, no, no criticism, no, how could you do this? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that funny? Look at that. What can I learn from that? How can I change that? Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. I say this to you over and over and over again. And I know that some of you may feel like I'm just, does she have nothing else to say? Well, when you start being consistently kind to yourself and stop criticizing yourself, there's a difference between looking at your personality. The person who said to me, I'm not so kind. I said, no, that's not true. Your thoughts, as Kriya would say, might be a little stinky. But you have to say, okay, I wonder where that one came from. Is that interesting? Why don't you go away? Let something good come in here. Have humor about it. Have humor about it. It'll free you. It'll free you incredibly to have humor about this, about the thoughts that come. Yeah, that soul is a beautiful soul. But what happened? She saw the truth of the thoughts that were rising in her mind. And she thought that because she saw the truth, that she was not a good soul. And that is, again, a false thinking. The stream of your life flows into the river of goodness. And that river of goodness flows in to the ocean of immortality. And so, what have I said to you today? I've said that you need to remember that you and you alone can soften your karma, that your attitude is important. That tarka, reflection on your life, is important. Reflection in a non-critical manner, but an objective manner. Yeah, well, I made that mistake again. And I'm going to end today with 2 stories to bring this all together. Very short. The first one is a true story. They're both true stories. There was a man who had an addiction to alcohol. And he used to come to the temple. One day I had the deep, deep blessing of standing with Pranananda when the man came. We were standing outside of his office and the man came up to Pranananda looking very despondent. And he said, well, Pranananda, I just got out of my 32nd rehabilitation program. 32 times I've been in rehab. Pranananda said, that is fantastic. Reached over and gave him a big hug. And he said, look at you. You've fallen down and you've gotten up. 32 times you fell down and you got up. One of these days, you won't fall down again. Don't you become discouraged. Don't you become discouraged. You are strong and you are brave. You fell down and you got up. What a wonderful soul my guru is. A few years after that, the man did fall down a couple more times and got up. But I saw him a few years later, and he and his wife had moved to another part of the country, to an Amish country. And now it's been a lot of years making up, a lot of days making up 10 years, 11 years, something like that, and he hasn't fallen again. You and I may not be falling in that way, but we all have ways that we fall. We fall, we fall, we fall. Have the courage to stand up again. And know that you will stand up and that you can stand up. And that whatever the problem is, it will solve itself. And now I'd like to close with this last short story, and then we'll have a brief Om chant together. There once was a disciple who had been doing a lot of sadhana. And he went to his guru and he asked for a boon. A boon is a blessing that you ask the guru or God for. That is something that you really, it said, it's an extra special blessing, let's say. You haven't necessarily earned it, but you get it instead because you've asked for it. And he said, Guruji, I came to ask a blessing. I would like to be able to have my wishes fulfilled. You say I'm a Aham Brahmasmi, so give me the mantra to fulfill my wishes. Okay, gives him the mantra. He doesn't think it's very wise, doesn't think the disciple should be doing this, but gives it to him anyway. So the disciple goes and chants and chants and chants, and one day there appears before him a demon. Right in the middle of his meditation, a demon. Master, you called me? Oh, yes, yes, yes. I am here to fulfill your desires. There's only one thing. Only one thing. I must never stop working, or I will eat you and devour you. That's no problem. Sure, no problem. Fine. Okay, you're ready? Fine. Ready, set, go. All right. Build me a castle. Fill it with furniture. Fill it with art from around the world. Fill it with food. Fill it with musicians. The beast comes towards him. Clothes. Books. Horses. Silverware. Plates. And the demon begins to reach over to the man. And the man yells out, Guruji, Guruji, help me, help me, help me. The guru was standing right there waiting, knew it was going to happen. Leans over, whispers to the disciple, and he says, yeah. The disciple says to the man, the demon, build a pole, a long pole all the way up to the sky. Done. And now go up and down that pole, up and down that pole, up and down that pole without stopping until I tell you to stop. Problem solved. The demon is your mind. The demon is the emotions that rule the mind, that run the mind. The pole is your spinal column, my beloved. Go up and down the spinal column until the demon becomes so exhausted that it will be quiet. And with that, let us close with chanting the Om mantra together. The Om mantra. And saying again, before we do that, the affirmation about letting go of your negative thoughts. Focus your attention at the sun center. And turn your head to the left, exhaling twice. And bring the head back to the center. Keeping your attention at the sun center. Repeat these words out loud, muttering them, please. Free me from my negative thoughts, that I do not pass them on to others. Free them, free me. Free me from my negative thoughts, that I do not pass them on to others. Free them, free me. Free me from my negative thoughts, that I do not pass them on to others. Free them, free me. Free them from their negative thoughts, that they do not pass them on to me. Free me, free them. Free them from their negative thoughts, that they do not pass them on to me. Free me, free them. Free me from my negative thoughts. Free them from their negative thoughts, that they do not pass them on to me. Free me, free them. Keep your attention focused at the sun center, and let us chant the Om mantra together 7 times. Feeling that Om radiating out and filling every cell in your being. Chant the Om and inhale through the nostrils, and then chant the Om on the exhalation. Turn your head to the left, exhaling twice. Inhale through the nostrils. Om. 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 Now hold your attention at the sun center and send forth your blessings to someone whom you love very much, chanting the Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Again, inhaling through the nostrils and exhaling the Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hold the person you love in your mind's eye. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And now hold the image in your mind's eye of someone who has done you a big favor, someone who's helped you a lot. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now all of your loved ones. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now all sentient beings. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now all beings in all realms of existence, that all beings be blessed. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. May the powers that be pour forth their blessings upon you at this moment. Feel the golden dewdrops of Ananda. 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 Filling every cell of your being. May your way be softened. May your way be eased. May health and happiness and joy, contentment, strength come into your life at this moment. May all of your needs be met with ease. Namaste. Namaskar.